Hello, good morning, or almost good afternoon. My Facebook family here. And Tony Teagarden here, coming from the cabana. I like my little cabana. And I'll just give you a little quick taste of Laguna this morning. It's actually a little brisk out here, at least for a Florida boy. And, of course, much love goes out to all my Florida friends and family that are out there. And I know that you're going to stay safe. I know I've heard quite a few of my friends have left or are on a plane out, and so I was very glad to hear that. And wanted to shoot this morning, and there's a philosophy, there's an idea, there's a concept that that I tend to live by these days. I know that every morning that nothing is promised, but almost anything is possible, right? And I say almost because there's just a couple of common sense things that I know can't happen, probably. And, like being a space Martian or something silly. But it's this really interesting space, this really interesting place that I find myself in. And my friend and I have talked about this, my neighbor, talking about the void. The void is where there's all this possibility, but there's also a lot of uncertainty. And there are certain personalities, certain character types, archetypes, however you want to look at it, that is really scary, and that it can feel almost impossible to move out of that place. As human beings, we're wired for certainty. We love certainty. We want certainty. And there are certain things that, certainty certainly is helpful and supportive. But when you talk about, really stepping out and doing some really cool stuff in the world, for an example, starting, digital online business, like I do, and helping people do that, it can be a really kind of scary place if what you're used to doing is, working in your local market and working with people in that sense. So waking up every morning and realizing that nothing is promised today means I'm going to have to get up and put my intention forward, right? Start putting some pieces into place. But knowing that everything is possible, it's just a really brilliant place. I remember Nathaniel Branden is the forefather of the self-esteem movement, and remember him saying, the definition of self-esteem is knowing that you can handle whatever comes your way. And that's certainly where, I show up here today. It's a matter of just, when we talk about giving up and giving in, it's about surrendering. And matter of fact, you don't have to be weak to surrender. Matter of fact, I feel that you have to be emotionally intelligent and strong in order to surrender. And, every day I get up and, and I set intentions and things that I want to see happen, and I practice mastery and I put my best foot forward. And then at times I just have to surrender to know that that game plan of how it's going to happen could easily change. And I think this is where I have seen a lot of, my previous clients. This is where I've seen a lot of individuals. They have so much certainty and expectation around how something should look and what that process should be like exactly. And when it starts to not go that way, start to lose their mind. And, and I've seen this with friends. I've seen it with family. I've seen it, in my business with clients. And that's where surrender happens. And that's where you set an intention and you certainly put your best foot forward. And there's best practices, of course, that, if you're in an online business like I am, you have a specific skill or a particular application of that skill, you probably know that it works and it's universal. You stick to that. But there are going to be times when it doesn't go your way. And, one of my questions when deciding to work with people is, how do you handle adversity? How do you handle it when things don't go your way? Can you handle that? Because there are times that getting to that outcome may not look anything like what you expected. How many of you have ever ended up with a spouse that you're madly in love with that you totally did not see happening, or that you totally did not, you couldn't have designed it to turn out that way, right? And I guarantee you, business is the exact same way. And this is where giving up and giving in, there's no irresponsibility. Matter of fact, the only thing that is available to you and I when we step into that void, when we step into that space, is responsibility. Taking responsibility for our emotions, taking responsibility for our actions, and just overall taking responsibility to manage ourselves and manage our emotions and our expectations. And realizing that if we want to get that outcome, that's fine. Just don't necessarily be attached to how that might happen, because there's a lot of times it doesn't. And listen, I deal with people, that are making very little money. Sometimes I work with people that are making 7 figures, and I see this show up in their lives all the time because I can be the observer. And listen, it's happened to me as well. There's times where I'm like, oh, how am I going to get to, $100,000 a month? And, you get driven in exactly what that's supposed to look like. And it just doesn't work like that sometimes. You can set the intention, but sometimes that's going to happen in ways that you never did expect. And this is a symptom of something far deeper. It's that unwillingness to let go of what you've learned. And sometimes what we've learned is not necessarily what allows us to step into that next level of leadership. So surrender, let go, set the intentions, but certainly surrender how that process may look. And with that, I hope that you have an amazing day. Again, sending much love, support to my Florida friends and family out there. Wishing you the very, very best of safety today. And certainly, there's preparation, prepare, surrender, be ready to handle whatever comes your way, because I know you can. So with that, hope you have an amazing day, and we'll talk to you soon.